Hi, this is Coach Troy from Metro Lutheran Ministries Financial Opportunity Center. You're watching our video series on improving your financial health. If you haven't done so, please go back and watch our previous videos in this series. They're designed and structured in such a way to be able to help guide you to be more successful as you work to improve your financial health. In this video, we will be discussing how to create the 50-30-20 budget. We'll go through what each category contains and discuss some of the common struggles that people have in creating a budget like this. Now, before you begin to create the budget, you'll need to be sure that you know how much income, regardless of source, that you can expect to receive each month. This will include things like income from your job. Maybe you receive benefits from some source. Maybe you get child support. Any of those sources would count as income. And you should also know how much money you've been spending, especially how much your needs are. Needs being things that you need to have, paying your rent every month, buying food, etc. If you've watched our videos in order, you should already have begun the process of being able to track this amount. But let's talk about income again. Now, income is a good thing to mark on a calendar of when you should get it. Some income will come at the first of the month, or in the middle of the month, maybe at the end of the month. And that will tell you when you have money available to spend. And how much from which source. Is it only wages? Or do you get an insurance payment? Maybe you get SSI. Maybe you get disability. Whatever the source, be sure to include it. Otherwise, your budget won't be very usable for you. Now, expenses. 50% of your expenses in this model should be spent on these things. The things that you need. You need a place to live, you need food, you need medicine, and you need clothes. Although clothes can kind of switch categories because while it's true we need clothes, as we tend to get in trouble if we walk around without them, how many clothes we need and what style of clothes we need might be more of a want than a need. And maybe you have loan payments that need to be made as well. And that's where 50% of your money should be going. 30% of your budget should go to the things that you want. Now, while you do need food, you may want to eat out. Maybe you have entertainment that you would like to participate in. The occasional movie, occasional night out. Maybe there are subscriptions, hobbies. The list is endless for things that we want. As Americans, we're pretty good at wanting things. But 30% of your money should be able to go to this. And then 20% of the budget is for savings. And I include debt service here, because the sooner you can pay off your debt, the money that you will save by not paying interest is a big help. So can you make above the minimum payment on any of your debts? Can you put money into an emergency savings fund? No matter how small the amount, starting to put something in that can help you and let you see great rewards as you work on creating your budget. Now, we're going to use an example for our beginnings to set up a budget of somebody who's working full-time. They get paid $15 an hour, which is going to give them a gross income of $30,000 a year. Now, after taxes, that's a net monthly income of $1,600. So it's important that we understand the difference between the gross income, that's the total amount of money that you've technically earned, and then your net income, which is how much you actually get to take home after they've taken out taxes and anything else that you and your situation may have automatically coming out. If we're going to use the 50-30-20 budget rule, with $1,600 per month coming in, that means $800 could be spent for your needs, $480 could be spent for the things that you want, and $320 could go towards your debt or savings. And those are important numbers to remember, because as we start this process, we always start with our needs. So working on a sample budget for our needs We can see in this example, we have our $1,600 amount of income. And then on expenses, we see that we're going to have $750 for rent, $85 for electricity, and so on. And we see that $990, and that's for one category. That's just for the net of what we're going to have to pay on our needs for housing. That doesn't include food, so we have an issue. And if we have an issue, we're going to have to fix it, because that's going to take money away from anything else that we can do. We have to keep a reality check on our budget as we begin to do it. You may not be ready to meet the goal of a 50-30-20 budget. That doesn't mean that you can't budget. It just may mean that you're not ready to do 50% towards needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings. And that's okay. You can set up a budget still to begin working that direction. But the decision would be at this point, where are you going to make changes to your budget and to the goals? For example, we could look at income, and you might be able to ask for a raise at work, which would bring in a little more money. You might take a second job or have somebody else in the house take on a job. You could sell items of value that you don't use, although that's pretty much a one-time shot, but it might help you get through a sticky part of your budget for a month. On the expenses, you may need to move to a lower rent home, something that doesn't cost you as much to live in. You may need to be strict on your grocery and food choices. You may need to prioritize getting out of debt so that you have money available to spend on your daily needs and some of your wants. See, that's why we call this hard work, because making those decisions is never easy. You remember, we live in America, and there's a big struggle between what we would like to have versus what we can afford to have. And that's not something that matters in terms of your socioeconomic status. The battle between what we would like and what we can afford impacts everyone, whether you make $30,000 a month or $100,000 or $30,000 a year or $100,000 a year. You see, as your financial health improves, you may notice that your appetite grows at the same time. While somebody making $30,000 may be struggling to figure out how to pay for one car for the family to use, somebody making $100,000 a year may be struggling because they feel the need to have multiple cars so that they don't have to take their driving age children to all of their events. It could be the size of the house. You would like to have a larger house, but you could live in a smaller house. That was discussed a lot in our previous video. If you'd like to work with a financial coach, our information is on the screen. Get in touch with us either by email or by phone call, and we can help you begin this process to help you create a budget that you can live with on that goal to the 50-30-20 budget at the end of the day. Now, our next video in this series will be discussing debit, credit, and cash and how they can impact your spending.